Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Diana Piper, Director of Admissions at the Pathway School. So for those of you joining us for the first time, thank you so much for hopping on. And for those who have joined us for the first or for several of these Facebook Lives, thanks for returning to us. As always, if you are interested, please drop in the comments where you're viewing from, and if you have any questions throughout our time together, drop those in the comments as well. We'll make sure we monitor those and answer questions as we're able to. I am joined today by the head of our Speech and Language Pathology Department, Mr. Daniel Taney. He is a wonderful professional who has been with us for several years and does a fantastic job leading his team and of speech pathologists to help support our students, and does a wonderful job of making sure that the kids get the good support that they need to be successful in their classrooms. And I'm going to let him take over and share a good bit of information about speech and language services in general and why they're important. This month is Speech and Language Month, correct,
Yep.
DJ? So we're happy to have him join us in celebrating that wonderful time. He'll give us some information about speech and language in general, and then talk a little bit about services delivered here at Pathway and how they're beneficial to our students. So thanks so much for joining me, DJ. I appreciate it. So I'm going to hand the ball over to you to just share a little bit of the wisdom in your brain and help us understand the great work that you do.
Absolutely. So we have a team of 4 speech therapists here that are here 5 days a week, and that includes myself. We see a good amount of students here on campus because there are a lot of students here that qualify for speech and language services. Most of our services are rotate around articulation, expressive and receptive language, social skills, and we do have some students that work on fluency as well. That being said, that's not the limit to our scope, but those are the kind of the main areas that we work on. We do have the opportunity to work in a interdisciplinary fashion, so we do work with the occupational therapy team, our teachers. We do have some insight with our clinical team as well. Some other things that we do are we're able to see the kids in different lights too, so not only for pull-out sessions, but we can see them in the classroom. Sometimes we've had the opportunity to see them in their on-campus jobs as well as off-campus jobs sometimes. We try to just go with whatever the focus of their needs are and what the best placement for that is.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Our services rotate in 3 different fashions, so we'll see kids individually, in group settings, or in a consultative model where we will see them usually monthly or quarterly, and that's usually when they have they're close to mastering their goals or have mastered their goals, and they're sort of on their way to dismissal from speech and language services.
Excellent. So when we think about speech and language services, it's certainly clear that speech is talking about communication and verbal language kinds of skills, but speech and language services that we deliver here, and I think delivered elsewhere, really run a pretty broad spectrum. It's not just about your ability to verbally speak and produce sounds, but it's all of those things that you talked about already. Some articulation kind of skill building, a lot of what we refer to as the pragmatic parts of language, actually interacting and making sure you understand social skills, those kinds of things. Can you talk a little bit more about how we embed those and teach those in that pull-out session, and then just try to help kids generalize those in their classroom experiences?
Sure. So, again, I think the first part that we do with working with our students is, we definitely try to establish that rapport, and with the different speech therapists that we have here on campus, we have the ability to kind of narrow down who would work best with which student. Mm-hmm. And each speech therapist has their own area of interest, as well as each student kind of clicks with a different speech therapist. So we have the opportunity to trial that, as well as sometimes rotate that each year, which definitely helps with generalizing skills, so not just working with one person.
Right, right.
Our pull-out sessions will work with those students individually or in a group based off of what their goals are. Usually, if it's more of a social goal, or if students are working on the same goals, we'll move to a group session. And then because we do have that access to work with a teacher and work with them in the classroom setting, we can generalize moving that way, as well as our teachers are fantastic at kind of moving that goal over to the classroom setting and working with them when we're not there.
Great. So we've talked in other Facebook Lives about these related service professionals and how the beauty and the benefit of having such professionals on our team is that all of our students, regardless of whether they're IEP'd for that level of service, have the benefit of accessing these professionals. And our teaching team does a fantastic job, as DJ has already said, of reaching out to professionals to get some additional help. So even a student who doesn't have on their IEP that they qualify and are eligible for speech and language services will still benefit from the expertise of DJ and his team, as a teacher might identify maybe something in the classroom that they're seeing and ask for a professional to come up and do an assessment and meet with the student and see if maybe there's more need than has been originally identified. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
So talk to us a little bit about how that comes to be, that kind of referral process into receiving for a kid who doesn't have that level of support on their IEP now, or as they enroll with us, but identified needs come up. What's that referral process look like?
So there's a couple different ways that can happen. One is that the teaching staff or other staff that are in the classroom, if they see a need, there is a formal request form that they can utilize, which kind of goes over what they're seeing in the classroom and what they're seeing as a need with the student. There's also, we are in a great portion of the classroom, so we speak with a lot of the teachers, and they are happy to speak with us at any time to just bring up something off the cuff that they're seeing as a concern. And then the third is we get asked directly from parents as well. So a lot of times, if there is something that maybe parents are seeing at home that's just spurred up and they're just looking for some guidance there, or if they're looking for different strategies to utilize, they might contact their classroom teacher, because that is their kind of main contact, and then they'll reach out to us and get us in the loop.
That's great. So for those of you who are watching, I hope this has given you a little bit of information about what we do at the Pathway School relative to speech and language pathology. DJ, I'd like to just spend a couple minutes talking about what brought you into this field in general, and what brought you to Pathway as a great place to work.
Sure. So the bring into the field, my brother worked with a speech therapist, and my brother actually does not speak, so it was a big push for me jumping into the field, just for the ability to assist him. And he works with an assistive technology device, so that has definitely been a helpful piece there, with being able to program that and learn more about that to kind of help him after he has moved past the ability to work with a speech therapist inside of a school setting.
Okay, nice.
And then as far as what brought me to Pathway, I've always enjoyed working with individuals with special needs, and again, that's from my brother as well. So, just from my experience with the interview process with Pathway and being able to tour the campus as well, I was very happy to accept the position here.
Excellent. Well, we're happy to have you for sure. DJ's a valuable member of our team, a great manager and supporter to his team, and certainly to the school staff in general. A wonderful young man to work with and interact with. Our students really enjoy interacting with him, and we're certainly always happy to have the opportunity to have him walk around on campus and spend some time with our kids and support our staff. So thank you so much, DJ, for being a part of this organization and for the great work that you do.
Thank you.
Any kind of tips or things you'd like to share with our audience, maybe kind of outside of the scope, whether it be anything speech and language related that you think would be helpful for folks to know?
If you're looking for a place to start, if you do have, certain concerns, especially if kids are younger, reaching out to the local intermediate unit is a great place to start with. Also, if you are interested in the Pathway School, we have open dialogue with the admissions department, so if you have any questions there,
Absolutely.
Diana and her admissions team always, are able to contact us as well. So, feel free to send any questions their way.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks. Have we had any questions that have come in through comments? Anything that we'd like to talk about? Excellent. Well, then I thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure talking with you. I think this is going to be our last Facebook Live of the school year, but don't worry, we'll be back and answering some good questions that you might have and providing some additional content for you. So thanks for checking in. Please feel free to like and share this with others who might benefit from hearing about this. And again, thanks so much for joining us, and thanks DJ for helping us learn a little bit more.
Of course.